How we doing, people? Hope you are well. Another stream, another show, which means another Arsenal victory. Last night, Arsenal got themselves into, I was going to say start their campaign, but we obviously did have the Zurich game, and the PSV game that was supposed to be playing got cancelled. But another victory against Bodo and Glimt. First things first, people. That away support was amazing, by the way. Absolutely superb. It reminded me of the Borussia Dortmund days of the Champions League. Just a sea of yellow. Great atmosphere. They were in there nice and early. And I have to say, I was really impressed with minute one through to 90 plus minutes of how they were keeping that intensity, keeping that passion, keeping that love, and keeping that drive towards their team, who, let's be honest, didn't look an amazing outfit. But have had some good results of late. Of course, everybody's talking about their victory against Roma last season, where apparently they scored 6 goals. So you never know what you're going to get in the Europa League, particularly when it's a team that you don't know much about. But I think the quality shone through as far as Arsenal were concerned in the end. But that's the first thing I wanted to mention, because I think sometimes it's a bit of an understatement. People go into European fixtures, particularly in the Europa League or the Europa Conference League that is now, and think, don't know much about this team. Is this a massive game for us? It should be a massive game because it's a European competition. So it should be a massive game for us, but it should more importantly be a huge game for them. And that's what I think it was. I think when you saw how they entered the stadium, how they all got together, the end was absolutely packed out. The away end absolutely packed out. And that's great to see for me. Absolutely great to see, because sometimes the atmosphere when you play some of the Premier League sides is nowhere near that. And I think that these Thursday nights, and hopefully soon to be Tuesday, Wednesday nights in the Champions League, hopefully after this season for Arsenal, I think the last time that we were in the Champions League, I remember being a little bit spoiled and thinking, Arsenal Ludogorets, like I'm not feeling 100% today. Should I go? I've had a busy day at work. Should I go? Man, I'm definitely going to be going as many games as I can in Europe, because you just do not know when you're not going to be in the competition or in Europe at all. So I think that just shows last night what the away fans were thinking. They're going to take their opportunity, they're going to enjoy it, and whatever happens is a bonus to them. I don't think anybody expected Bodo and Glimt to be giving Arsenal a game, and certainly not to pick up the 3 points. But Arsenal did that. The team news was an interesting one. And I'm going to say it's interesting for 2 reasons. One, because there was a couple of players I didn't expect to see. And 2, I think it shows where we're still weak instead of in terms of our strength in depth. I think when you look at that first 11 last night, Mikel Arteta must be thinking, where's my backup left centre-back? I haven't got one, so I'm going to have to play Gabriel. Where's my backup left-footed centre midfielder? I don't have one. I'm going to have to play Granit Xhaka. Where's my left winger? He's out injured, so I'm going to have to play Martinelli. This is the problem we've got with certain positions in this team, in my opinion. There's either nobody there, or when there is somebody, there's adequate cover that is perhaps okay for this competition, but I think there's a huge drop-off. So I personally feel like the issues around squad depth, some Arsenal fans will go over the top with it and say, wow, it's just a disgrace and everybody is going way over the top with it. There's certainly some Arsenal fans that have the right to be concerned, because I believe personally there was some mistakes. Mistakes. There was some, what am I trying to say? Some squad depth that just, for me, is either nobody there or a huge drop off. So I can understand their concerns, if I'm honest. I mean, this is a great question actually from Luke. Big up, Luke. Would you fancy that starting 11 to go to Bodo and win there? Seeing what they're like quality-wise, Luke, I would say yes, because I did feel it was comfortable. But away from home is always different. And I think the better answer to your question would be, do I fancy that 11 in the latter stages of this competition? The answer is absolutely no. The answer is absolutely no, because we personally need to see more strength in depth coming through, in my opinion, and we definitely need a stronger team if we're going to get to the latter stages. But having said that, particularly in the first half, I was comfortable, I was encouraged, and I felt there was a few players that deserve a lot of credit in that game. Um, so we're going to go through them. The title of this is the title of my man of the match, Kieran Tierney. I don't know what it is, guys, but since we've signed Zinchenko, everybody has forgotten about Kieran Tierney and has forgotten how good Kieran Tierney is. And I'm not quite sure why, because everybody knows that other than Kieran Tierney's injuries, the guy's sheer quality going forward, great crossing ability, great link up play, 110% effort, professionalism, mentality, leadership, winning mentality, and which everyone forgets, defensively solid. And I think that that is why he would get the nod on Sunday ahead of Zinchenko for me. That last bit. Because everything that we look at Zinchenko that's great on the ball, which is a lot, by the way, I'm a big fan of Zinchenko. Yes, he might play the inverted left back role better. He might be more comfortable on the ball in terms of his us going forward and link up play, but I don't think it's massively better than Kieran Tierney. But defensively and positioning wise and discipline, um, defensive unit as a discipline wise, for me, it's Kieran Tierney all day long, like all day long. Not even close for me. So I think that although Salah and Trent Alexander-Arnold are being laughed at quite heavily at the moment, I don't think we should be, because against Zinchenko, I would fancy their chances to find some space. Against Tierney, I think they'd find it a lot more difficult. And when I say that, people will say, Zinchenko, he's brilliant, he's quality. I agree. I think he is. But it doesn't stop me from thinking that Kieran Tierney would do a better job there. That's all I'm saying. When it comes to the other side, Tomiyasu, I thought he was amazing last night. And the reason I loved Tomiyasu's performance was particularly when we started making changes. He just walked over to the left back and just said, I'll play here now. And it's unbelievable. A guy of 22 years old, or 23 is he, that can switch sides like that and look flawless. I thought his performance was exceptional. What I love about Tomiyasu is on the ball, he looks so comfortable. His positioning superb. People get frustrated sometimes and say he doesn't overlap. He doesn't go forward. Well, he's not that type of player, because when he plays at right back, Kieran Tierney does that on the left hand side. And I do believe that there is a position and a time and a place for an overlapping right back. Tomiyasu isn't that guy, so don't expect him to be. I think he's brilliant. This defensively, aerial ability, his discipline, positioning. I love his strength. I love the fact that he's a team player. I love the fact that he's a bit of an introvert. He doesn't seem to be one that goes over, above, and beyond to try and be this character. And I think that players like him are so needed in this Arsenal squad, because he can come in and he play a couple of positions. He can probably play across the whole of the back line. And do you remember, like, probably Invincible season? We had players like Lauren, who were what, 7 or 8 out of 10 most games? Might have a blip. I remember him scoring a crazy own goal once against Man City. I've seen him lose out battles before. Positionally, though, strength wise, going forward, defensively, just like Tomiyasu, solid, just solid. And that's what we need. Now, I'm really comfortable with the majority of our backline. Kieran Tierney and Zinchenko we've mentioned, Tomiyasu and Ben White we've mentioned, and of course we've got Gabriel and Saliba as well as Ben White who can play there, and Rob Holding who came in last night and, to be fair, did his job and got on the score sheet. So I think defensively, Mikel Arteta takes a lot of credit for me, because he's completely revamped it, and there's no more Mustafis or Luizes or Socrates. We haven't seen over the years anybody replicating Skilacci's or Stepanov's performances. We've had now Ben White, Gabriel Saliba. Rob Holding, listen, he's not my favourite player, if I'm honest with you. I think he's fairly lucky to be at Arsenal, and I think in All or Nothing, he pretty much said that in and around without saying it. He's happy to be here. He's happy to be a squad player. Of course he is, because I don't think he expected to be at Arsenal still 5 or 6 years on. But he is, and he's coming in and he's doing a job. Gabriel, he's the only real left-footed centre-back that we've got. And maybe we'll look to address that in the summer. Maybe Austin Trusty will come back from Birmingham, who's apparently been wicked over there, by the way, and be our backup left centre-back. Who knows? But what I like about Gabriel is that he is the different defender of all of ours. And what I mean by that is Saliba is very comfortable on the ball. He looks beautiful when he's playing football. Ben White, distribution-wise, comfortable on the ball. Gabriel's got that little bit of bite about him. Gabriel's got that little bit of nastiness. And I was listening to Arsenal Vision, and Clive summed it up perfectly for me. He's the Martin Keown of the team. And it's true. He is so the Martin Keown of the team. He's not that ball playing centre half like a Rio Ferdinand, like a Saliba, for example. He's the ball playing centre half that's got the bite, and he has got the oh dear moments about him. What makes up for it for me from those Bozo Gene moments that people talk about is he's exceptional in everything else that he does. And when I see players of old like Mustafi's making mistakes, Socrates, David Luiz, same mistakes every single season. Now, Gabriel's made a few of those, and he does need to sort that out, by the way. But he makes up for it with everything else that he does. Either he'll score a goal, he'll clear off the line, he'll defend brilliantly. I love that about him. So I've been really, really impressed with Gabriel. Over the course of what's it been now, 2.5 years at Arsenal. I think he'll go down as a good centre half that we've had in terms of a signing for Arteta, and one of the better ones that he's signed in the last couple of years. And the good thing about Gabriel is he was one of the first signings Arteta made, so he's been there since day one, and he's seen the team grow. So I'm actually a big fan. And normally I'm not a fan of players who make the same mistakes. So if this was to keep happening 3 years on, perhaps we can start saying, "Wow, he's not learning." But for me, I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan. The midfield yesterday. Let me start with Lokonga. He is so good on the ball. Like, really like him. Comfortable, composed. I think he looks calm and casual at times. I think he's the guy that everybody gives to keep it simple and calm things down. But off the ball, I have a little bit of problem with him. Positionally, I don't think he's that mountain monster that we need. I also believe that he's missing some of those. You know, when you get like a winning mentality, immensely decent tackle, a challenge that goes in and you think, core, yeah, don't mess with me. I don't see that with Lokonga. I don't see him as a ball winning midfielder. So when you give him the ball, he looks good. But if you ask him to win the ball back, nah, it ain't for me. And that doesn't make him a bad player. I just don't think he's at that level yet. I don't think that part of his game is developed. And I'm hoping that it will. At the age of 23, 22, I'd like to see that in the next few weeks to months of his career. Because I feel that as a midfielder, you badly need that. You badly need that. When I look at Lokonga's position, I don't really see him as a holding midfielder. I see him more as maybe a Granit Xhaka's type role, maybe as an 8. Or if we was to play in a 4-4-2, then the one next to Thomas Partey. I don't really see him as a number 6. And at the moment, he's being asked to play there because we have nobody else. And I get that. When El Nini comes back, maybe that could change. In pre-season, Lokonga was playing as an 8. I just don't see him as that. So that's my honest opinion. Nothing wrong with it. Like him as a player. But for me, he's not a number 6. But we move on to Granit Xhaka with another typical performance, and one that I think is becoming pretty obvious at the moment. But the one that impressed me the most in midfield was Fabio Vieira. I really like everything about this guy at the moment. I think his touch is really good. I think he's got that vision, that ball that he sees a pass. And also, his crossing ability is good. Now, I know he crossed the goal for a Holdings header, which was great. But I was really impressed with his all-round play. And I think that when Martin Ødegaard is out, he's the one that I think that we will look to for some creativity. Now, the other thing that was interesting was when Ødegaard brought the when Arteta brought the subs on and Ødegaard come on, which we will touch on in a minute, the both of them playing together either side of Lokonga was interesting for me because that's a position that a lot of people have been saying, what happens if Xhaka's out? Do we play Zinchenko or does Vieira go in there? And we play party holding. Now, I think that's an option, personally. I looked at his play in that position and I was quite impressed. I don't think he's strong enough. He's lightweight. That's probably his weakest part of his game. And I wouldn't like to see it there long term. But certainly to try it there and see what it was like against a team that probably aren't going to cause us many issues, I think it was just good opportunity for Mikel Arteta to experiment, and I was quite impressed with him doing that. So he was probably up there alongside Kieran, Tierney and Tomiyasu as the most impressive. A lot of people gave him man of the match that I saw. I gave it to Kieran Tierney because I thought everything he did was flawless. With Fabio Vieira's performance, it was extremely encouraging for sure. Martinelli, likewise, a guy that probably needs a rest, but at the moment can't because Smith Rowe's out. I will say that I was surprised Reece Nelson didn't play this game, and when he did come on, he looked quite promising. I can't lie. He looked quite promising against the team that you'd expect him to do something against. He did do something, and that was cause some problems down that left hand side when he came on. But Martinelli is just so intense, man. I love the work rate. I love the fact that he's up and down that wing, and that for me is something that you can't deny. He's been superb for Arsenal, in my opinion. Marquinhos. Now, I still don't know how to say his name, by the way. I don't know if it's Marquinhos, or Marquinhos. So someone let me know in the chat, please. But I quite liked some of his touches. A lot of people said that he was losing the ball. Yeah, he's good, man. He's 19 years old. I actually quite liked his performance, particularly in the first half. I thought that there were some parts of his game that definitely need developing. But actually what let him down this game, which didn't let him down in Zurich, was some of his crossing wasn't as good. But I really like the link-up play. I really like the fact he's comfortable on the ball. And he only lost it by, like, taking that extra touch or letting it roll on his foot a bit more. Little errors like that, which he will iron out in his time. But actually, the majority of the time, he didn't really give the ball away by sloppy passing. He was quite comfortable going forward. And I saw some comments saying that they weren't that impressed with him, but I've got to disagree. I think this guy could be one of the players that we look at as the surprise package of this season and say he's a player that I'd like to see more of coming from the bench, because we're not blessed with 5 or 6 substitutions that are going to change a game. He could be one that we look at as a very interesting talent. So I'm going to give him a little bit of credit, actually. I thought he was okay. I can't lie. And I think defensively, he was getting back and helping out. I think he's got that intensity that Martinelli has, where he's up, down, up, down. And that, for me, is definitely going to be a winner at the Arsenal, because when you've got that there, you'll be okay and you will go places. So I'm actually quite a fan of what I see from Marquinhos. So let's see what happens, and long may it continue, man. And then we come to Eddie Nketiah, a player who has got a lot of stick over the last couple of years, probably harshly, probably people being a bit over the top. We have to remember 2 things. It's not really Eddie Nketiah that we have to blame if things aren't going so well for him. We probably have to look a little bit further up the line in terms of the coaching and the manager who keeps giving him these chances. Now, if people over the last 2 years don't appreciate Eddie Nketiah, it's probably fair, because justifiably he's missed a lot of chances, etc. But the back end of last season, he showed something. And I think he showed something at the start of this season, right? Now, people think I'm harsh on Eddie. It's not I'm harsh on Eddie. I just don't think that he is what we need, personally, as the backup striker to Gabriel Jesus. I'm more than happy for him to be in and around the squad. Let me get that straight. I don't think that, like you saw last night, he's the guy in front of goal that I think goal. Last night, through gone goal, balloons it over. Last night, through on goal in the first half, can't get a bit out of his feet, can't shoot. But he scores goals. He still scored goals. He scored last night. He scored against Zurich. So he does know where the goal is. So as frustrating as he can be, actually Eddie deserves a little bit of credit, if I'm honest with you. So when I look at it, what Eddie has definitely improved on is 2 things. Off the ball, he looks so much better. And his strength. I don't know if you guys saw, but how strong he looked last night against some of those centre-halves that weren't that lightweight, by the way. He has definitely bulked up. He has been on the weights. And that, for me, I've definitely noticed. The other thing I've noticed is he actually is becoming a lot more creative. His intensity and work rate has always been there, and it's never been denied. And I compared him last night, me and Turkish talking about it on AFTV with Eddie. He reminds me of like an Iwobi and Danny Welbeck in the fact that he's never going to be a Ian Wright or a Thierry Henry, but he'll give you 150%. And I think that's what you can ask, all you can ask for. If a player is doing his best and giving his all, I'm happy. It's players that in the past have swanned around the pitch, that have the talent i.e. Mesut Ozil, players like that, even at Lacazette at some stages towards the end of his time at Arsenal, they're the ones that frustrate me more than an Eddie and Nketiah. Because if Eddie's giving 110%, I ain't going to get on his back. Not at all. Someone in the chat has just put steady Eddie. I think that's fair. I think he has been rather steady. 2 starts, 2 goals, and he's come on and looked good in most of the Premier League games whenever he has been given a chance. So I think we need to just get off of his back a little bit more now. I totally appreciate what Mr. Waffle's saying here, and I was just going to bring this up. He's not worth 100k a week. And like I said last week on Lee Judge's TV, I don't care what people earn a week, man. I'm not an Arsenal accountant. I don't care if you want to go and offer Saka, Saliba, and Martinelli 300k a week. I'm not paying them. But what I do believe is that everybody should be paid fairly for what they're doing. So now we've stuck Eddie on 100k. That is why players like the Sakas and Salibas, they're going to want, well, I want double what he's on because he can't even get in the first team. So that's where I agree with Mr. Waffle there. But when it comes to him, I personally don't think he deserves some of the credit that he's getting. Certainly not this season. He scored 2 in 2. I think he's done all right. Last night, I thought he was, again, one of the better players on the pitch. I know he fluffed his lines a couple of times. I know that he definitely should have done better, particularly with the second chance he had in the second half, where he went through from a great pass from Erdegaard. But I think give Eddie a little bit of credit, man, because he's giving it he's giving it a lot. To be fair, so I think we should be giving him some credit. Let's talk about the substitutions. I don't know what you guys thought, but I thought it was a little bit risky. Now, I've nothing against seeing these players, if I'm honest with you, because they're a joy to watch. But I would say that the 3 that he brought on were probably 3 that I really don't want to see getting injured against Liverpool on Sunday. So when he brought on Jesus, Saka, and Erdegaard, I was thinking, oh, okay, I'm happy to see him in a way because I like to see him and I'd love to see some more goals. But at the same time, I don't want any injuries for these 3. Luckily, it looks like everything's all good and we got away with it. Martin Erdegaard, superb pass through to Eddie for the chance that he missed, put over the bar. He looks really good, I thought, on the ball, really comfortable. And this season, he's been a joy to watch. I absolutely love everything about how he's playing. Last season, I questioned his goals and assists. I think this season, he's proved that he can do that. And I'd love to see that continue. But yeah, for me, I just love him technically as a footballer. Saka, nothing against this kid. Loved the performance when he came on. I thought he was driving forward as ever. But the one that really shone through was Gabriel Jesus. And it just proved to me that although he's always been a 9 for Arsenal, and he does go left and right, when he's being asked to come on as a left-sided winger, when Eddie's through the middle, he's just as good. And it was just great to see. And because I sit at the North Bank by the corner flag in block 5, it was literally him on my side the whole time. And the assist for Vieira for that goal, mwah, absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. This guy has got so much talent and has taken us from here to here, not here to here. He has gone to that level with us. And I think when you compare what Lacazette and Aubameyang were doing, he's basically morphed into both of them. He's scoring the goals that Aubameyang did, of old, by the way. And he's playing the link-up play and hold-up play that Lacazette did for us. And I always said, isn't it annoying that Lacazette and Aubameyang can't be morphed into one or can't be playing together in a 4-4-2? And we saw it under Emery when we played 3 at the back that those 2 were playing up top behind Ozil or Ramsey. But that was all we really saw of it. This guy can do both of what they do plus more. I'm really impressed with this guy, man. I really am. And for me, I think it's a long may it continue at Gabriel Jesus to Arsenal situation because this guy looks happy. This guy looks hungry. This guy looks like he wants to prove everybody that he can score goals. This guy is now, for me, the main kind of top dog at the club, so to speak. And I think he absolutely loves that. This guy just proved his class and the quality shone through. So for me, a very comfortable victory. Probably should have been more, if I'm honest with you. But we'll 100% take it. I wanted to finish on a concern. Not a negative, because I know some of you think I am negative at times. A concern. I want Aaron Ramsdale to be wrapped up in cotton wool and bubble wrap. Because if we lose him, this goalkeeper we've signed, I have some serious concerns, people. I have serious concerns. Great save in the second half. Really good save in the second half. Good throws. Then it stops. He can't kick. He cannot kick a football. I had three people around me. One of them was my dad, a few of my mates going, what is wrong with this goalkeeper's kicking? And I didn't want to say anything because I thought, don't say anything. Just give him the game at least. It will get better. Still didn't get better. Second half, still didn't get better. And I thought, come on, you need to work on this, my guy. If you want to be a modern day goalkeeper in this league, you really need to. Like, you really need to. I look at what Matt Turner's done so far, and it's really early in his career. But he's flapping at corners. He's flapping at crosses. He looks nervous. There's not much communication I can see. There's not much faith the defense has in front of him because they're so early in working with him at the moment. And that worries me massively if anything was to happen to Ramsdale. So I'm sitting here now praying and hoping that we can get something out of Aaron Ramsdale that says I'm not going to get injured, because Matt Turner can come in for 1 or 2 games, but if we was to lose Ramsdale for the season, I would have serious concerns, guys. I really would. I saw him in pre-season and I thought, whoa, he looks bad, but let's just let him brush the cobwebs off and, we'll see where we go once he gets settled in. Then I saw him in the first Europa League game. I think it was Zurich. And there was a situation in the first half where Gabriel had given him an absolutely shambolic back pass. And he tried, instead of clearing his lines and shouting at him saying, do not do that to me again, he tried taking it round the man. And I thought, come on, you've got to get rid of this. Anyway, he cleared it in the end. And he went straight to the player. And then he put it across to try and obviously get it for their mate, but it was a poor cross from Zurich's point of view. And he's flapping around, and I'm thinking, is this guy another Runnison? I mean, whoever scouted Runnison needs sacking. Is he still here? I mean, is he still here, that scout? Because if he's the one that scouted for Matt Turner, I'm going to have issues. Because that, for me, ain't right. Yeah? We need to be seeing better than what we're seeing from Matt Turner. I tell you that now. If he's going to be here long term, I'm worried. I really am. So for me, I've always said, goalkeepers, very, very difficult position to buy once you've got your number one. Very difficult. I would do what Tottenham have done this season and what Chelsea and Man City usually do. Go and get an experienced number 2 that is happy to sit on your bench. Whether it's Ben Foster, who I know is retired now, whether it's a Mark Schwarzer or a Brad Friedel, those kind of types of players, yeah? I know they've retired, guys, before you start saying that they're an option. My point is they're experienced heads. And if you have to go and get one of them, I would have more faith in them sitting on the bench than I would Matt Turner, because I've seen enough to know that this guy is going to need a lot of time to improve. And at the moment, we're lucky because we're playing that opposition. If he's going to be our Europa League goalkeeper all the way through and our cup goalkeepers, we're going to leak goals. We are going to leak goals, 100%. Even if it's not his fault, we're going to leak goals, because it doesn't just start at the goalkeeper, it's their defence as well. That fills you with confidence when you've got a goalkeeper behind you. You ask the back line of the Lee Dixons and Nigel Winterburns, ask Kevin Campbell. He always said to me, that back line always had faith because of David Seaman. And he become a part of the back five. So, yeah, I have problems. I have worries. I'm not going to go mad, but I will say that he's the one that concerns me at the moment. So let's see what happens there. Moving on to Sunday, people. Moving on to Sunday. What do we think? The reason I'm confused about this one is because everyone's told me we're going to walk it. We're going to win. It's going to be easy. Liverpool are terrible. Arsenal are great. It's going to be an easy victory. Let's just move on to the games past it. No, for me. No. Not no, we're not going to win. No, it's not going to be easy. The reason it's not going to be easy is because Liverpool cannot afford to lose this game. They can't. They'll be 14 points off of Arsenal. The title's already done for me, and I think they know it. But what they can't do is lose this one, because that means they're fighting for top 4 this season, which some would say they're doing already. They have to start bouncing back sooner or later. And unfortunately, their record against Arsenal is pretty good over the last few years, home and away. I remember us winning at the Emirates under Unai Emery. And I remember us winning at the Emirates. Sorry, we didn't win under Unai Emery. It was a draw, actually, 1-1, funny enough. But I do remember beating them in COVID when they'd won the league already. They were on the beach. There was nobody in the ground. And Reece Nelson ended up scoring and we won 2-1. But apart from that, it's been a long time since you've taken 3 points. So I look at this fixture now and think it's good because it's a good time to play them. Arsenal are playing well, but don't be surprised if they take something. I don't think they'll beat us, but don't be surprised if we do draw this game. Because if there's any game that they will turn it on, one, it's going to be against Arsenal. And two, this is the time for them to turn it on. They haven't got much longer. They can't continue to lose games like this because it's not going to be can they get top four. It's going to be can they get top half the way they're going. It's so bad. I would play Kieran Tierney. I've already mentioned this on this stream because Salah and Alexander Arnold are no Muppets. Alexander Arnold has never been good defensively. Salah is world class on his day. So down that right-hand side, they're going to be a threat. The good thing is, Gabriel Martinelli would definitely be able to get behind them. And he's the key for me at the weekend. He's the key. Because him against Alexander Arnold defensively, I think he will destroy him potentially. But will they cause damage to Zinchenko? I think they could do. I really like Zinchenko. I think he's a great signing. I'm a big fan. But defensively, I have my issues. Emerson Royale and Richarlison found space. So Salah and Alexander Arnold probably will. Can we keep them quiet? It's yet to be seen. The other concern I have is Salah, Alexander Arnold, Robertson, Firmino, Jota all score goals against Arsenal and they enjoy doing it. So for me, it's about how we keep ourselves defensively solid. And so far this season, touch wood, because I've got a wooden desk. So far this season, we've done that. Defensively, we've been stable. We've managed to keep most teams quiet that have come to the Emirates or that we've gone away to. We've had cool, calm, and composed games other than the Manchester United one. So for me, I think we need to be really careful in how we defend against the side that, let's be honest, in the last 4 years have played some of the most beautiful football on their day. And I think if we can allow for Martinelli, Jesus, and Saka to do what they've been doing, we should have enough. The other player that's key for this is Martin Ødegaard. And I didn't think he was amazing against Tottenham, but I didn't think he was poor. He needs a game now where he can just literally pull the strings and be a maestro. And this could be that opportunity. The reason I think that is because their midfield has been terrible. Terrible. Fabinho's like a granddad at the moment off the ball. Henderson and Milner are done. Thiago can hardly keep fit. And it don't really matter who else they play in there, whether it's Elliott or Jones or whoever, because they're not quite ready, albeit look very talented, particularly Elliott. So I think that we could win that midfield battle quite comfortably. Granit Xhaka's been on fine form. Thomas Partey's so key, as we saw against Spurs. And I've just mentioned the importance potentially of Martin Ødegaard. So for me, this is how I think we can win this game. Win that midfield battle and let that front three do the rest, because we know we have goals from Martinelli, Jesus and Saka. We know Ødegaard can find a pass. And we know that Granit Xhaka can link up play now. So for me, if Thomas Partey has the game that he had against Tottenham plus more, I think we'll be okay. My head is telling me that they might nick something here, and I can't sit there and tell you why I feel like that, because I should be high. I should be Liverpool 4-1. I'm not going to do that. My heart says we can win 2-1. My head's saying it might be 1-1. So I hope I'm wrong with my head, and I hope my heart's right. I always like to go with my heart, but sometimes you have to be realistic and go with your head. Liverpool, if they lose this one, Lord help them. I think if they were to lose this and Chelsea don't start picking up soon, and when I say picking up soon, I mean winning, deservedly winning and playing very good football, because they ain't. I think Arsenal and Spurs will pretty much be guaranteed Champions League along with Man City, and it's a fight out for Liverpool or Chelsea for who gets fourth. That's what it could be like, because this is the game for me after the Tottenham one that people were looking at saying, if Arsenal win this one, where are they going to finish? And they're talking about media saying Man City and Arsenal here, not can Arsenal get fourth, can Arsenal get second, or can they even win the league? That's what people will be saying. Now, I stand by it and I still feel we're in a top four race because I'm realistic. But if these teams keep falling away the way that we're seeing, We would be mad if we think we might scrape fourth. We should be guaranteed it because everyone around us is falling short. I still feel like there's going to be a lot of twists and turns. But if this team stays fit, there is no reason, and I mean no reason at all, that anyone can give me as to why Arsenal can't look to come second and best of the rest after Man City. Because Man City are basically, we're praying that Haaland gets injured. Yeah? Or we're praying that Haaland and De Bruyne gets injured. That's the only chance we've got of catching these guys because they are absolute machines, the pair of them. And together, wow, I mean, we're probably going to see the best pairing since Henry and Bergkamp in this league, or Dwight York and Andy Cole. So for me, yeah, I think this is going to be a very, very interesting season. And for me, I'm going to go 2-1 Arsenal, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was 1-1 because Liverpool cannot lose this game. Guys, always an absolute pleasure speaking to you. Sorry it's a fairly short one tonight. Big up everybody in the chat. Big up all of you for all of your comments and interaction. I have got to go tonight, but do not go anywhere because I want you to do me a favor. I want you to smash a like on this video. I want you to smash a subscribe. Please help me get up to 6K. I'm not too far away. I think I'm only a few hundred away. So please get me up to 6K. And if you head over to Grizz Khan TV at 5 p.m., you'll see me and Lee Judges on there talking all things Arsenal Liverpool. Because I'm interested to hear what Grizz thinks about this, and more importantly, what Lee thinks about this competition. This game at the weekend. So head over to Grizz Khan TV in 20 minutes. You'll see myself and Lee on there with Grizz, and we're going to talk Arsenal Liverpool. Smash a like on this one. It's massively important. And subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already, people. Take care and peace out.